Well, hello and welcome to my new Beerstream. I'm just going to wait around a few moments. I was a little bit late hitting the button, so I'm going to wait for a few people to join. Otherwise, I'm just talking to myself at the moment. There's nobody in here. Well, hello there. Someone's just joined. Do I just type in the comments that you can hear me, and that way I get to see who's also here. Well, tonight, I decided I had too much beer last night, so I was out with a couple of you fantastic Debbie and Steve. So it's water tonight. Is that okay? No, only kidding. You've seen the beer I'm going to drink in the on the thumbnail, I expect already. But I just wanted a quick sip of water while I was just waiting for a few people to join in. Can someone type that you can hear me? Let me know. I don't want to be talking to nobody. No. Not good beer anyway. Right. Let's get this started, shall we? Well, I'd like I don't know if Mark is joining us tonight, because this is really down to Mark. Mark Hell, who's I believe lives in Colorado, USA. Definitely in the USA. I think he's in Colorado. Anyway, he sent me a wonderful gift a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago now. A box of 12 different stouts and porters through Amazon. And it was from these people here, the Real L store. And well, we're having 3 of those tonight, and I'm going to start off. I've never had any of these before, and I've really never tried them. We're going to start off with the Market Porter, which is by Thornbridge Brewery. Well, then going to have a stout, just to mix it up a bit. And this is Monk's Stout by the DuPont Brewery. And then we're going to go on to the Colonel Brewery. And this is something I've never even heard of before, an Indian porter. Now, I'm well aware of Indian Pale Ales, IPAs, but I've never ever heard of an export Indian porter before. Was it around at the same time as the IPAs? I haven't actually researched it. I've been rather busy today. I've spent most of the day keep stopping trying to find somewhere where I had internet, which I thought would work for this live stream. I think I'm okay at the moment. It seems to be fairly good, fairly stable internet here, so hopefully we'll stay stable all night. I'm saving that one to last because I'm really interested in trying that one. And what it did, it came with a list. It tells you on this list, it tells you the beers which were in the box and which ones, and a description about them. Well, I've gone through, and you can see there, I've underlined the second one down there, I think it is, and I've another one down there and another one on the next page. Those are the 3 we're trying tonight. But what I haven't done is read what they say. I want to do that live with you guys here, so we can actually perhaps talk about it. And don't forget to put comments in. I have had stinking Bishop cheese. Yes, it's actually, it's not that stinking, and it's quite good actually. It's a type of cheddar. Right. So we're going to start off with the market porter. Although Mark also sent me a wonderful beer glass, Goose Island beer glass. I'm using the little glasses again tonight. It's just easier when I'm sat around the laptop with various glasses going on, and I don't want to pour a 4 pint anyway. So I'm just going to pour some of this one in here. Very dark in colour. So this is the market porter. It's got the sort of colour I'm looking for in a porter. It's definitely got the nose to a porter. Roasted malts. Bit nutty on the nose. Little sip. Extremely smooth. Full-on porter, that is. Lots and lots of flavour. And by the way, none of these have been in the refrigerator. They've all been on the floor of my boat. So I don't want them at room temperature because it's 24 degrees in the boat. I've got them at cellar temperature more if they're set on the floor of the boat. Well, that is absolutely wonderful. Right, let's see what the Guff says. I've just got to find the right one. It's on page 2, of course. So there's the last one actually on here. And there it is then, right down the bottom here. You can see it here, the pointy finger. Let's see what it has to say. Excuse me. The Monk's Stout DuPont is part of the brewery DuPont's history. Indeed, it was produced in the 50s. The aim is to learn to read in a moment. The aim is to revive the stout. They're calling it a stout, but stouts and porters are basically the same thing anyway, and it's called a porter on there, but there we go. While maintaining the same name and the design of their time. Created in 2011, this dark beer is characterized by a dry and bitter taste. Didn't get too much bitterness out of it. The use of roasted malts, of course, all porters and stouts do, lends a well-pronounced taste of coffee and chocolate. The hop flavours remain perceptible through. We hope you enjoy the beer. Right. See if I can get any of those notes on here. I don't get coffee, but I do get the chocolate. A good, those 97, 98% cocoa dark chocolate bars you can get. What I call the real good ones. Definitely taste that. That real bitter, the bitter chocolate. The real cocoa chocolate. It's definitely got that sort of bitterness to it rather than the bitterness you'd get with, say, an IPA. That is absolutely wonderful. Hello, Andrew from Stoke-on-Trent. I'm not so far away from you, Andrew. I will be in Stoke-on-Trent, I'll be going through the canal at Stoke-on-Trent, probably within the next week, weather permitting. I'm currently moored at Handsacre. Yeah. No, I'm at Handsacre, not Armitage. So I'm not that far away. By boat, I'm 3 days away from me. By car, probably 3 minutes. You're a foodie. Oh yeah, had Stinking Bishop. I'm just making sure I'm keeping up with the comments here because I don't like not answering your comments. Well, that market porter excellent beer. But let's go on to the Monk's Stout. Do you know what I just read? No wonder I got it all wrong, because I just read the description for Monk's Stout. No wonder it says stout on here. I can't even read the right, give you the ones. Perhaps that's why I didn't taste coffee. Here we have Thornbridge Market Porter. That's the bottom one on this page. Let's see what that says. This distinctive type of beer was originally brewed to withstand the abuses of shipping in foul weather to Imperial Russia. A rich, flavorful brew, deep chocolate in colour, with roasted barley, nose and flavour. There's complexity of malts, hops, alcohol and yeast. So that's why I don't taste the chocolate. They give it a chocolatey colour, but I tasted no chocolate in it, and no coffee in it rather. I do taste the chocolatiness though to it, but they're just saying that in colour, but definitely that dark. Well, I guess you get that from those real dark roasted barley. Yeah, it's definitely a keeper, that one. That's a wonderful beer. The more you drink it, the more you want it. It's a good English saying. I know when I lived in America, I used this phrase a couple of times, and people didn't know what I was saying. I would call it Moorish. Of course, by saying Moorish, the more you drink, the more you want. Excellent. Right. Glass number 2. Beer number 2. I've already read the description of this one because I can't even tell which one I'm drinking there. That was beer 1. What's it going to be like at beer 3? A bit lively, that one. Right, let's go back to the description again for this one. Let's see what it said. It says, the Monk's Stout the point is part of the brew and blah. Indeed, yeah, we knew all that bit. This dark beer characterises by a dry and bitter taste. The use of roasted malts lends a well-pronounced taste of coffee, chocolate. The hop flavour remains. Right. Let's get back to seeing what it actually says, or does to me. Funny enough, I'm still not getting coffee on that one either. Definitely the chocolatey again, the real dark, rich chocolate. And there's definitely a bitterness to this. Like I should have realised I had the wrong beer straight away when I didn't have that bitterness to it. But it's definitely, it tastes like it's got hops that would be used more in an IPA than rather than a porter. But there you go, or a stout. Most people out there know what Guinness tastes. Most people would know what Guinness tastes like. It's absolutely nothing like a Guinness. I can tell you that right now. This is something completely different. Quite unique, actually. I'm not sure I've ever drank a stout actually tastes like this before. Very different. Quite enjoyable. I couldn't drink too many of these. Well, not. I don't know how strong it was. Doesn't say on there. It's got a taste of alcohol to it. Oh, what I didn't realise, it's from Belgium. It's a Belgian beer. Brassiere de Port Torps Belgique. So it's from Belgium. Ah. No, it's funny actually. Now, seeing that's from Belgium, I believe it was a Belgian beer I used to drink. Oh, I'm trying to think what it was called. Was that French? Pelforth. That had that same hoppiness on the back. Almost the same taste. No, I still didn't see how strong this was. I can't. Oh, I can't. Why do they put such dark writing on the? How are you supposed to read that gold on that black? It's almost impossible. And it's in Flemish anyway, so I can't read it very anyway. So but we don't have a strength on there. Oh yes, we do. 5.2% by volume. It tastes stronger than that, believe it or not. It tastes like one of those real heavy beers which need sitting around for a bit. Needs resting and keeping. A bit like the ones I did when I drank the Goose Island, which is now 3 or 4 years old or whatever. It tastes a lot better than it did when it was 1 year old or whatever. Yeah, taste. I think that would be a keeper. Excuse me a second. I'm just gonna got itchy nose. Right, let's get back to it. Right, let's see. Sean Buttermere, hi Trev, and hi subscribers. Just joined the chat. Fantastic. Welcome to the chat. Are bourbon barrel ales a thing in England? I believe Innis makes one, but they normally do most of those. There are whiskey barreled because they're a Scottish one, but I think they do a bourbon one as well. But bourbon barrel, no. Whiskey barrels, yes. You do get a few whiskey barrel ones. We don't make bourbon in England, so that's probably why they'd have to import the barrels. Obviously, we don't really make any whiskey in England. There is one distillery, I think, in Wales, which makes a whiskey. There's loads in Scotland, which obviously makes Scotch whiskey. I don't know there's a single English whiskey distillery that I know of anyway. And of course, in Ireland, there's quite a few again. In actual fact, some of the Irish whiskies are very, very good, I think. Yeah, there's I don't know of a. Say in England, there's no whiskey. I don't think made in England. Really don't. Could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, beer and bourbon barrels. Obviously, they have to import the bourbon barrels, so I guess it's not really done. Oh dear. I've been out all day moving the boat, as I say, trying to find somewhere decent to do the live stream from. Because where I was moored this morning, there was absolutely no chance. I think I was at an upload speed of 0.05 and a download speed of about 1.2. So it was absolutely useless. You couldn't do anything on the internet there. But I went there to Aeros to meet, as I say, Steve and Debbie yesterday evening, and we had a bite to eat, and I had one or two pedigrees, shall we say. I had one or two too many, probably, should we say. Anyway, I still managed to walk back to the boat, and it was over half a mile away, so I didn't do so bad. Aberfoyle Distillery in Wales. Oh, thank you. You see, I knew there was one. I had heard of it, but I didn't know what it was. Somebody actually told me about it the other day, and I said, well, I'd never heard of a distillery in Wales, but there we go. Thank you very much, Andrew, for letting me know. Quick old tippy tappy on the old internet there, or did you actually know it? All right. Anyway, shall we continue with where we are? What we've done so far, we've done the Market Porter and the Monk's Stout. Yeah, Monk's Stout is definitely different. Obviously, being Belgium, I guess they're probably using different barley and different hops as well. It definitely tastes of alcohol. I was quite surprised it's only 5.2% alcohol, actually. Because to me, that tastes like one of those 8 or 9%ers. But it tastes good. I'm not knocking it at all. It's nothing wrong with it. It's just different, and it's not what I was expecting, to be quite honest with you. But I don't mind something different if it's good, and that's good. Right, let's put that to one side. I'm just going to reach over here, and this is the one I've really, really, really been looking forward to trying. Yeah, I'll click like. Thank you. Thank you, Hobsha. Yes, if you can click the like, it does sort of help, I believe, towards the algorithm. Right, the Colonel Brewery, London. I've never heard of the Colonel Brewery in London. And as I say, I've never heard of an export India porter before. And let's see what it says about it. Right, what we have, it says, Colonel Exports Porter is a rich, dark, oh, hang on a minute, I haven't poured any, have I? Sit a glass. Right, definitely dark. So a nose to it as well. Oh, that's different. That smells. Do you know that actually smells like an IPA? Right. With roasted malts, a touch of smoke, bitter chocolate, and a subtle treacle sweetness. The intensely roasty has a intensely roasty. Sounds like I'm cooking a beef joint there or something. Has a creamy mouth feel and soft carbonation. Makes for a nicely balanced porter. Right, let's see if I agree with that. It definitely smells like an IPA rather than a porter. It smells like an American West Coast IPA with a like Cascade hops in it or something like that, or Citra hops. Wow, need another sip. That is totally, completely not what I was expecting. Actually, their description of it is almost spot on, I would say. You can taste the roasted malts in it. That's neither here nor there. But once again, that real dark chocolate, those real high cocoa content chocolates, you know, those 97, 98% cocoa chocolate, that bitter sweetness. And it does have a light carbonation. Actually, I'd prefer that if it didn't have any carbonation. I think that'd be absolutely much, much better if it was on nitro. But there you go. That's my opinion because it'd make it even lighter. But there's nothing wrong with that. Nicely balanced porter. Yes, I can totally agree with that. And I'm not quite sure where that one comes in on the Richter scale. Oh, that one's 6%. Pop in there somewhere. I'll get it in the camera shot. I don't think I said what the first one was, did I? Oh, that was the weakest one of them all. Actually, it's at 4.5%. They all taste very, very good. And have I missed out any? I have tried Leffe beer from Belgium, and I don't like it. It's a lager. Well, the ones I tried, I think actually they might make a dark beer as well. But the one I tried was a lager, and I didn't like it. But I don't like lagers, so yes, it does have a hoppy flavour. And I was right when I actually said it tastes like it's or smelt like it had like the Citra hops in it or something like that, or Cascade hop, like the American style IPAs. Just or American West Coast style IPAs, I should say, because the East Coast style IPAs are a little bit different. But yes, definitely a little hoppy, and that's why I'm guessing it's called an Indian export porter, because I expect you all know anyway. Why the beer, the IPA became known as India Pale Ale was quite simple. It's for export into India, and I believe it was Burton Ales that first did it, and Burton upon Trent. And what they found was by adding more hops and making it a little bit hoppier, the beer hoppier, actually kept it travelled better. So when it was shipped over from the UK to India for the British Army, back in the days, that's a bit gassy. Windy pops. Oh, it's definitely a bit gassy. So anyway, when it was shipped over to India, it wouldn't go off because they were finding by the time the beer got from the UK to India for the British troops, it had gone sour. But adding extra hops to it, it made the beer travel better. Hence, it became known as the India Pale Ale because it was brewed specifically at that point in time for shipping to the British troops in India. Bit of useless information. Beamish State from Cork nicer than Guinness, in my opinion. Totally agree. And there's some other ones. Yeah, you're right. It's like a porter IPA. Yeah, it's totally new to me. I've never even seen a label before which is mentioned on a porter about being export India. Never seen it before. So I'm not sure if it dates back to the same sort of time when we were shipping IPAs across to India. Don't know when that first came around. As I say, I've never seen it before, never come up across it before. But there's nothing wrong with it, I can assure you. Very unique. I don't think I've ever actually tasted a porter that tastes like this before. So it's very, very unique. Quite often they're very similar, aren't they? But this one is, well, it's just different. Not in a bad way. I would drink that again, definitely. Well, I drink all these again. They're all very, very good. Let's go back to the number one. This was the Market's Porter, wasn't it? See, that one just smells like the porter. You've got that richness, that nuttiness. It's the only one that smells like a porter, actually. Well, the other one was a stout, anyway. Yeah, that's very much a traditional porter. You've got that real nutty chocolate. No, not so much chocolate. I don't taste. Yeah, chocolatey, not coffee. I didn't taste a lot of coffee in it. You get that chocolatey, nutty, roasty sort of smoky flavour to it. Absolutely brilliant. And that was the weakest one at 4.5%. Then we go back to that Monk Stout, the Belgian beer. And funny enough, it smells like Belgian beer. Yeah, it's definitely got that Belgian beer flavour. Brewery I used to go to, not this one. This is in what's this brewery? Gee whiz. It's in Illinois. Kankakee, not Kankakee. Wilmington, Illinois. It probably says on there anyway. It does actually. This was from Wilmington, Illinois, this brewery. And they made a porter. And it wasn't that far off from the first one, the flavour. It was called something like something from the swamp or something, the Kankakee. I don't think is Carl in the room tonight. Carl would tell you because he lives still. Well, he lives just down the road from the place. Yeah, old school brewery. They did some great beers. They actually did an excellent porter. Creature from the Lagoon or something it was called, or Creature from the Kankakee. The Kankakee River ran right through Wilmington, Illinois. But that's very similar to that one, the first one. This one reminds me of that beer. Yeah, that definitely reminds me of that beer. Where this one, this is the Monk Stout, reminds me of a beer that Riverhawk Brewery in Shanahan, Illinois, used to make. They're no longer there, I don't believe. And it was they made a quad, a Belgian quad, which had that flavour to it. That real strong sort of Belgian-y sort of beer flavour. Yeah, that reminds me of that one. This one reminds me of nothing. I've never tasted a porter or a stout, anything like this one before. But it's absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Totally different. If that was the first stout you ever, or first porter you ever tried in your life, and you thought that's what porters tasted like, then all the other porters you've ever tried in your life, if you tried other porters, you'd think, well, they just don't taste like porter. That makes sense. But yeah, that's definitely a porter cross with an IPA. Right, let's get back to these comments and have I missed anything out? Beamish, yeah, Beamish from Cork, is it? I didn't actually know it was from Cork, but I used to love Beamish. What's the other one I used to love? Yeah, there was another one I preferred over Guinness. Actually, I prefer most stouts over Guinness. Guinness is okay. Guinness is one of those beers that you're going to get a decent pint wherever you go normally. So you can drink it anywhere in the world and it's always going to taste reasonable. Although they're all made different places. Murphy's, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, Murphy's. I used to quite like Murphy's as well, a pint of Murphy's. That's very creamy. Yeah. But Beamish, yeah. Beamish, I think, was probably my favourite out of those three. Yeah. But yeah. It's funny that, isn't it? Because Guinness is the most famous, but probably not the best out of them all. Oh well. Well, that is my beer tasting done. Has any of you got any questions in the chat there? And I'll answer questions. It doesn't have to be about the beer. It can be about anything else. Well, boat life anyway. But yeah, bring on any questions, and I'm willing to sort of talk about anything. I'm just going to have a sip of water there. I'm getting all those flavours mixed up in my mouth. I'm going to sip on away on this one. Most unique beer porter I've ever had. I recommend it. I recommend if you ever see this one and you want to try something different, try it. It definitely is. All of these beers I'd recommend. They're all very, very good in all their own different ways. But that is unique, totally unique. I've never tasted a beer like it before in my life, and I've had 1 or 2 beers in my life. I've had thousands, hundreds of thousands, probably. Nearly had that last night. Hundreds of thousands. Can you tell us about the newest job interview? Didn't happen. Well, it did happen. I actually the latest one. I've had a couple I've been to. The latest one was not far away from here, and I went and saw them, and they said they'd get back to me this week, and they haven't. And that seems to be the general ploy these days. They just say, "Oh yeah, we'll get back to you." Yeah, in the first one, they gave me a start date, then called me up and said, "Oh, by the way, we have to run it through head office first," and then never heard no more. Yeah, so I don't know. Well, so do you know what? Over here in the UK, I believe on a job interview or on a job application form, they're not allowed to ask you your age. You know what they do? They ask for your date of birth. What's the difference? Anyone can work out your age from your date of birth, can't they? Well, I don't know about some people these days, but you should be able to. So, and I'm sure, being 64, I'm just too old. They just don't want me. I'm on the rubbish heap as far as they're concerned. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, well, I enjoy doing the videos, and the scam-demic is or the planned demic, I would call it either. Yeah, I decided that I was going to live through it. I wasn't going to bow down and do nothing. So I tried throw a few videos together. Most of them were walking videos because the CRT were keeping a bit of an eye on us moving our boats, and I do know a couple of people or a couple of boaters that would move basically all the time. They'd move just from water point to water point to water point around the country, and they managed to do during the first lockdown managed to do about 120 miles or something. Where I did across the water point and back again, across the water point and back again. Oh, I did have to go and get diesel a couple of times, but besides that, and I came back to where I started off from every time, or within a boat or two's distance. Well, it was handy actually, there being at Rugby, Tesco right on the doorstep. So it was just easy, could do all my shopping. And to make sure I got off the boat every day, I went shopping every day. Every day of the week, every morning, I got up mid-morning. I'd walk to Tesco to get the food I wanted for the day. I know I've got a fridge on the boat. I could buy enough food for a few days, but I just wanted to get off the boat every day. So they can't stop me from going shopping. So I made sure that I went grocery shopping every single day, just about. Unless it was chucking it down with rain, and I didn't bother. But if you remember rightly, that first lockdown was absolutely gorgeous weather. In fact, I had to go shopping just about every day because I kept running out of beer. And there was a few of us boaters, we were all getting cheesed off with it. And half the time, we were sat on my back deck because I got the cruiser stern. And one day there was a few of us sat on the back deck, and what they call PCSOs or whatever it is, the sort of wannabe policeman, came by and said, "What are you all doing here on group together, drinking beer?" "Well, we're drinking beer." "Well, you shouldn't be in a group of, there was 6 of us." And they said, "Well, you shouldn't be in groups more than 6." And I said, "There's only 6 of us." And they said, "Well, you still shouldn't be all together." I said, "This is our bubble. We're all in the same bubble." So they walked off in the end. But yeah, got a bit fed up with that. Got a bit fed up, the some of the stupid rules. And then they reopened the pubs, didn't they? And so they reopened the pubs, but you had to be out by 9 o'clock. I guess up to 9 o'clock you couldn't catch this so-called thing that was floating around, but between 9 and 11, when the pubs would normally be open, you could catch it. Yeah. Absolutely ridiculous, wasn't it? Absolutely ridiculous. And then they're telling you to put a mask on when you're outside. Something that didn't work anyway when you're inside, because a virus particle, is so tiny and minute. It'd be like wearing a string vest and throwing, I don't know, a pinch of salt, a grain of salt at a string vest. Yeah, it's going to catch it, isn't it? Just nuts. And yes, I was, or still am, called a conspiracy theorist all the time, and I would take it all the time, because I do a lot of research before I use this. I do a lot of research, and I do check things out. Yeah, you're right. They were hilarious. I actually, if you went on Google, you could find all the things that they were doing for exemption against wearing masks. Well, I spent one afternoon. I printed them. I printed off the exemption things, and I'm exempt from wearing a mask. And I printed it onto photo paper because it's thicker. So I used proper photo paper, printed it on. Then I sprayed it with some spray lacquer, and I cut it out and sprayed it with spray lacquer, so it made it stiffened it up a bit. Cut a lovely little slot in it, so that, a lanyard would run through it. And I just put it around my neck. I'm exempt from wearing a mask. I'd already had I'd already had the flu that beforehand, before anything come around. I'm going to call it the flu. Yeah, I had natural immunity. Why do I have to worry about it? You use exemptions too. My logic is sound. Thank you. And I don't just go off shouting about things, and as I say, normally I don't tell too much about what's going on in life. Not that side, and I'll tell you what, the amount of boaters I know, that we all come from the same page. We really do. And I mean, and what's going on in the world right now is even scarier, what they're trying to do now. And how many people have left their phones to take that noise, which you're going to get tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock? I went into settings and turned it all off. And I'll probably leave my phone turned off all day tomorrow as well, because there could be some other things going on with that. Well, thank you very much for coming and being here. Absolutely appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that's come and joined me. And I'm going to start closing this up anyway. I've got 3 beers to finish off here. And I'm going to go and cut. I got some Stilton cheese in the fridge. Well, it's not in the fridge. I took it out of the fridge so it would warm up a little bit. And I'm going to have some Stilton cheese with a couple of crackers and finish this beer off with them, because I think a little Stilton with some nice sounds like this is going to be perfect. I will too. You take care as well. And everybody in the chat, of course, please take care. I appreciate you all coming and joining me this evening. It's been absolutely wonderful. And I hope you've all been drinking beer where I have been, because it's been rather good this side of the camera, I can tell you. I expect that's the next thing. YouTube will be banning drinking beer on live streams. Right, yes. Well, anyway, I'm going to close down there. It's been 3/4 of an hour now. And if anyone watches it on playback, 3/4 of an hour, once it starts getting over half an hour, really, nobody wants to watch anything anyway. Nobody's got that attention span these days to watch more than 5 minutes, have they? So I'm going to close up there. As I say, I'm going to go and finish these off. Big thank you goes out to everybody out there. And I suppose I ought to finish off with my live streams just the same as I finish with my videos. Thank you very much for watching. Trevor out. No, I'll find end stream button.